Hi everyone, welcome to Tea Time Tales. This is Miriam, and today we have another Write With Me Wednesday. So grab your favorite hot drink and let's get going. That's good. So today I'm working on chapter 4 of my second book in the Sovereign Future series. Here's book 1, Isla's Treasure. We are in the midst, where our characters are in the midst of quite the precarious situation. And it's really difficult not to give spoilers, but let's say it's a bit cold where they're at. In the end of book 1, they found out there's a big twist that they were going to do one thing. Turns out that came a lot sooner than they expected. Then they had to run, and now they're in a cold biome. Sorry for being so vague. I want to give you details, but I also want to preserve those who don't want details and spoilers. Yeah. Remember, I said I'm writing every other chapter of this book. I thought I would write every other chapter all the way through, write all the odd chapters and all the evens. But I really wanted to catch the evens plot up, so I decided to backtrack a little bit and take a break from the first plot, go to the second. I really love alternating the plots for the chapters because I just feel more organized. Having consistency, like you are expecting to see the other characters in the next chapter, it'll give you an exact time when to look forward to the continuation of one plot, and you're ready for a break. Same with the other plot every time they switch, instead of just kind of seemingly random scenes that are like really short or something. We're just gonna roll with it. We're gonna see how it happens. I still want to insert some scenes, however, just not as many as last time. Chapter 4. I don't actually have a name for this one yet, so there is that. We only got a number right now. I like to, at the beginning of every chapter, write a summary of what I want that chapter to be about, synopsis. It makes it a lot easier for me to get my mind in order, I guess. With so many ideas always floating around, it's important to stay organized. And you may have different ways of doing it. I didn't just summarize, I also did color codes. Every plot had its own color for jumping between scenes, and that helped a lot for that style. It also helps me to remember things because I forget things, but that's why we gotta remind ourselves, and that's what the synopsis is. Also, there are 2 modes, perspectives for a writer. The first one is the big arc, the story, where's it going, and the big things and points and character developments that all intersect with that arc and where it ends. That is the big series arc. And then there's little ones, or slightly smaller per book. We get from A to B. That's one. And how did our characters get affected? And even smaller, it gets to, in this particular scene, in order to accomplish what is B in the end of this book, what are our characters doing? And every time it gets a little bit finer and more detailed. But it can be difficult sometimes to juggle them. So that's why I write multiple outlines. The first outline is the largest one, what I want each book to be, the lesson it teaches, the themes, all of that, and where it ends. And then I have where each book goes. In Isla's Treasure, it was about what is the greatest treasure to Isla, what is her greatest possession, what she values most, and she's really forced to figure that out after her parents' death, and she goes on a journey to find out who made them disappear. That's a main theme that not only is the character's main theme, but also the books. And then at the end of it, we get a cliffhanger where they're in another land and something happens that can't spoil until you read it. Sorry about that. No, I'm not. Well, more like I'm sad that I can't give more details because I really want to. Anyway, A to B, her parents pass away, and then B, because of that, she finds out what she values most and what is her greatest treasure. Then in this book, she's in a new land. All of her characters have some curveballs that they have to ride out. Her journey now has switched from finding out what she values most to who is she, and is she going to let her circumstances define her and how she feels, or is she going to take hold of who she now can be? Her individual story arc heavily influences the outcome of the plot of the whole book, and then her are very connected in that point. Each character has this. I'm not going to go into every one of them, but she and one other person are the two most main characters. I say most main because, there are several characters we get to see a lot. The other most main is her cousin, Shay. Shay, in book 1, went on a quest to find out what happened to her father after he left, and she was told he was in one place. Turns out he was in another. One place she was told that he passed away in a mugging. The other is like, what do you mean? No, he's alive and he's on the run. But before she can pursue that, she has to find out why someone's after her. Whoever was after her father, she's like, oh no, he's coming after me now. And they need to stop him. And they get help in doing that. So she moved from, I'm just this noble girl. My dad is gone, he's missing, or rather he's traveling away because there's a bigger conspiracy at play, and then that conspiracy leads her to help the whole nation, or at least try to. And that's where we ended with Shay's plot in book 1. One of the things I had as a young writer, I was just like, let's just do everything, right? It's so fun, let's just do it. The thing is, if you don't give your own imagination boundaries, then you can have a dragon and a space age sentient star in one, which sounds like it goes together, but then you throw in normal Vikings in a medieval time period that has nothing to do with magic. Or if there's magic, it changes constantly, there are no rules, and everyone's just overpowered. So if you don't create in your world boundaries, limitations, then your characters can never exceed, challenge, or fail at those limitations. Writing is meant to teach what lessons you learn in life by representing them. Relationships between people, how people grow, how people fail, is meant to simulate different things in life, especially the big questions. Why are we here? What do you do? Who am I? All these things are interpreted and can be interpreted through writing. Now that might sound kind of scary. You're like, dude, I just wanted to write about a dragon. You don't have to go super crazy. But if you don't have a base, if you don't have your main theme of a lesson, what are you going to teach? It could be the tiniest thing. It could be Sarah is 5 years old and she has to go on stage and perform a play in 3 weeks, and she's terrified. The whole goal for her is to overcome her fear of performing in front of people, because she loves to perform. She just has stage fright. The overarching lesson of that can be you can face your fears, you can grow. There are so many things you can decipher from that, which sometimes they're not as clear. Like you come up with a cool idea and then realize it can be related to a life lesson. But just once you have that base, you can remain in that and a little more consistent. When you have a base, when you have a story, you have your overarching plot and you have your smaller individual plots influencing the characters And depending on what you're doing, you have a series plot, books, characters. It can always get more complex. You always, on the main, biggest what's going to happen, and the overarching theme and lesson that's going to influence all the others, that is how you make your decisions. You're like, this is so cool, but it doesn't benefit the plot. It doesn't forward it. It doesn't grow a character. It's just kind of random and cool. That idea is awesome, but is best to save for later until you can either find a way to fit it into your plot that makes sense and doesn't break the world, unless you planned on breaking the world. Write it, put it away, save it for another day. That is what a lot of writing is. It's sorting. What is most important? And that's how, if you have your overarching largest plot, again, it could be Sarah who just needs to go on the stage, overarching plot, overcoming her fear, then every step she takes is a little bit in that direction. So maybe first she performs in front of her best friend, her family, and she messes up when she's performing in front of her family. You want to create obstacles that your characters will move past, or they don't move past at the time. They stumble, it comes up again. That time, they are able to move forward. They are able to grow stronger. It's all about pacing and alternation. Another awesome but very important aspect of writing is the management of the climaxes and the lulls. So let me explain what I mean. So everyone knows what a climax is, right? Everyone probably knows what a lull is. But when you put them together, you create like this line, if you've ever seen it illustrated, up and down. If you're always going up, eventually that gets kind of tiring. Like, you're just exhausted at this point. And you're kind of bored because you're like, oh, there's a battle. Oh, a character is injured. Oh, and also this magical creature pops up, and then another magical creature eats the first one, and then now we're in space. And does that make sense? It's so much, and you have no time to process it. A lull, I define as a character development moment that is calm. Any kind of moment or scene that's just calm for a while. It's a normal conversation maybe, or they're processing the battle, they're processing the magical monster that popped up. It's that processing of both the characters and the reader. Or maybe there's a secret that the characters reveal. That is a lull. When it's calmer and there's not a bunch of action, but there is a lot of development. But if you only ever talk, only have, oh yeah, I really messed up, you guys, and I know I've been talking about this for the last 15 pages, but it just keeps going. It's another kind of boring and you get tired. But when you have steps, key events, and you alternate them between climax, battle, character is injured, now we gotta take a second, figure out how we're gonna do this. There's calm, we're gonna help this character get better. Or maybe climax, character passes away, now we have to process how that happened. There are sides, and this war was between countries, but now it's personal because someone passed away. These things are very important to manage, and that's exactly in simplest ways, like just climax and lull, and climax and lull. That's it. Like, that's most of writing. Now, avoiding patterns. If we have a character, he's like, gosh, I'm always hungry, I love sausage. Okay, cool. So now, as we go through the plot, he makes sausage jokes, he makes a dirt man that's holding a sausage. Every time it refers back to that can be funny. But if he's like, gosh, I know we need to go, destroy this rock monster, but I really need my sausage. What? It would be a lot more funny if he goes and whacks that monster with a sausage. it becomes redundant and predictable, and if that's the only thing that a character is ever about, then they become very flat and you're no longer even interested. At that point, you don't even believe there's anything more to him than he loves sausages. Basically, as soon as your brain determines a pattern, we start getting bored. I've learned this is the same with your speech. How you talk, not only person to person, but in writing as well. Your actual writing style. If you talk, let's say, imagine you're talking in this calm tone, and you're going on, and you're describing how incredibly elegant your curtains are. The stitches were fine linen or silk, and there was this bed filled with the most premium feathers. It was the fluffiest in the kingdom. The comforter was olive green, the piano beside it was brown, and you keep talking in the same tone, just describing every painful detail. It gets redundant. In the same way, if you don't explain at all, and you're just like, oh yeah, they were in this room and they slept. Is it a bedroom? Is it a living room? Are they on the floor? Just managing those details and knowing when a detail's important. If it's really not that important, cut it out. You can always go back, edit. Cut it out, add it in, put back. You can do that, and as you do that, you begin to develop a sense for when, oh, I've been talking about this for a little bit now, I should move on. That is very important, and that is one of the biggest skills of storytelling and story writing. Managing your climaxes and your lulls. Knowing when to switch from developmental to action. Knowing when you are talking about this lovely bedroom that all of a sudden we forgot why we're even here. And knowing when to add in a little detail because you don't even know what room your characters are in. These are the building blocks to any story. And if you can learn just managing your action, your lulls, your details, and context, then you can do amazing things. Creating limitations is not a bad thing. Creating a world where characters can't jump as high as skyscrapers, or maybe they can, but they can't swim at all, is so amazing because you can do so much when there are both wonderful things but limitations in contrast. So get out there and get writing.